J.D. Vance was born and raised in Ohio. But his heart is here, one state to the south, Kentucky.
Now, when I proposed to my wife, I said, honey, I come with $120,000 worth of law school debt and a cemetery plot on a mountainside in eastern Kentucky.
Go up here a couple of miles and turn on to Kentucky Highway 540. Grandmother Bonnie Blanton Vance.
Vance's grandmother was known to Breathitt County Sheriff John Holland and others as Mama, the woman who pretty much raised Vance.
He always came down here with Mama, and she would bring him to the mountains to let him see what mountain life was, and he evidently liked it.
It's just a tight-knit place.
Jane Munson Hogg lives in a Jackson, Kentucky log cabin from the 1700s.
There's just something about these mountains that call you. It's like, I left, and I couldn't wait to get back.
This is Appalachia, or pronounced Appalachia if your kin live here, known for its natural beauty, its hollers, and its struggles. Jackson is the poorest county in Kentucky, where 1 out of every 3 residents live below the poverty line. It's here that Vance says he was shaped as a man who would become a best-selling author, senator, and vice presidential nominee.
I promise you this, I will be a vice president who never forgets where he came from.
Vance, as a kid, would stay here at his great-grandparents' home when he visited.
A good little boy, brilliant little boy, and he was just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, wasn't he?
Stephanie Rose Miles used to babysit Vance. She reconnected with him a few years back.
I said, you've grown, because I think probably the last time that I had seen him, I had picked him up and carried him around on my hip.
Miles saw Vance on a book tour. His 2016 bestseller spread his name nationally. Vance became a voice for a part of the country that felt left out economically and ignored politically. It also ultimately helped align him with Donald Trump, whose career was fueled by those resentments. Locally, though, the title Hillbilly Elegy sparked controversy with some. Others take pride.
This is hillbilly country. You know, this is our country. That's his country. You know, this is memories for him.
Years ago, the lack of jobs in eastern Kentucky had prompted a teenage pregnant mama to marry JD's papa and move to Middletown, Ohio. And this is where Vance's mother and later he were born. Papa would go through this gate daily for his well-paying job as a foreman at the Armco steel plant in Middletown. Vance's mom, Beverly, fought addiction during much of his life, so Mama took over raising her grandson. His book, turned into a movie, depicts a blunt Mama, played by Glenn Close, leveling with the young J.D.
I could have done better. But you got to decide. You want to be somebody or not.
Mama was strict, and she cursed a lot. Vance says when she died, they found 19 loaded handguns in this house.
Being where they're from, Grandma and Grandpa, it's about protecting your family no matter what.
Just as kids do, Vance would ride his bike to see friends. When he was 16, he rode it to his first job, Dillman Foods, now a Dollar General. Retired owner Steve Dillman hired him as a cashier and stock boy.
He was honest, he was dependable, he never caused any issues. He was the kind of person you like to have.
This isn't Vance's first run for vice president. With his stepfather's last name of Hamill, Vance graduated from Middletown High School and was voted vice president of his 2003 graduating class, with a quirky venue for the photo. He then served as a U.S. Marine for 4 years, including half a year in Iraq as a military journalist. Then he graduated summa cum laude from The Ohio State University using the GI Bill. Vance entered Yale Law School as J.D. Hamill, but graduated as J.D. Vance, honoring his late mama by taking her last name. Vance and his conservative beliefs arrived on this liberal campus, where he clicked with fellow law student Usha Chilakuri, his future wife. One of his best college buddies, James Eimers, says the first-generation Indian American was driven.
I think she was able to channel some of that to JD, really kind of help him decide what he wanted to do and help, kind of shape his future path in general from law school.
Vance worked as a venture capitalist for billionaire Peter Thiel, who contributes heavily to right-wing candidates. In 2022, the boy from Ohio who loves Kentucky won a U.S. Senate seat in Ohio.
And I will never forget the great people of Ohio. Thank you for this honor to serve you.
Former President Donald Trump had campaigned for him, as did Donald Trump Jr.,
I'm happy to have Don Jr. here, happy to have the president's support.
who reportedly convinced his father to trust another man who had a beard.
J.D. Vance to be the next Vice President of the United States.
Trump chose Vance as his running mate during the Republican National Convention. Vance got off to a rough start
Thank you.
when some of his past comments were revealed, including his harsh words about the former president to Charlie Rose in 2016.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
Vance also posted on a now-deleted Twitter account as, quote, "Trump makes people I care about afraid, immigrants, Muslims, etc. Because of this, I find him reprehensible." Now Vance's policies as the nominee reflect Trump's. And when asked, did the former president lose the 2020 election?
No. I think there are serious problems in 2020. So did Donald Trump lose the election? Not by the words that I would use.
Vance is an articulate, uncompromising defender of Trump, going fearlessly to promote him in tough media interviews. He is hawkish on China and East Asia, opposes military aid to Ukraine, and
Ma'am.
Could you tell me how you handled it?
in answer to my question on the Israel-Hamas conflict,
Kamala Harris, on the one hand, says that she really cares about civilian casualties and really wants the war to end, and yet she refuses to give Israel the weapons that allow them to minimize civilian casualties and bring the war to a close end.
Vance's hometown of Middletown is largely Trump country. 3 out of 5 voted to elect him in 2020. But will Vance bring more?
I'm very proud of what he's accomplished, and to be a part of that makes me really feel good inside. This is a man that has come from McKinley Street, and now he could potentially be the Vice President of the United States.
There are those who won't be voting for him.
Back then, I would have considered him a little more centrist, a little maybe leaning the opposite direction. I would have considered him a little bit, nothing like what he is now.
If elected, Vance at age 40 would be the 3rd youngest vice president in history.
Let's get to work and make it happen. God bless you all. Thanks for having me.
Carolyn Persutti, VOA News.